Greetings and welcome. Welcome to my very special Purple Portal. And it is the beginning of November, and I am your host, the somewhat reluctant mystic, the wonderer. I wonder about lots of stuff, and the wanderer. And I bring you thoughts and insights so that you can wonder and wander inside of your mind and allow your spirit to go free with new thinking. So I am Elaine Bartlett, and I warmly invite you to participate today. If the spirit gives you the bing on the forehead, and to do that, you could call in at 321-806-3159. You're also welcome to go to my website, higherconsciousness.com, HIERCONSCIOUSNESS.com. So it is the beginning of November, and it's a beautiful day here in South Florida. I hope wherever you are, it is beautiful. I know up north, the leaves are falling, and definitely autumn is in the air. It is also the day after the All-Hallowed Halloween. Halloween seems to have become a major national holiday in the United States. I'm not quite sure how that happened. It had to have been something to do with fluffing up retail sales a number of years ago. Maybe this is a little low time or something. But 1/4 of all the candy sold annually in the United States is purchased for and at Halloween. It's astounding to me. That's a lot of candy. And it means a lot of health issues for people. Before I came into this studio today, I went and popped into a store. The store felt like a morgue. People looked glazed over. They looked unwell. They looked unhappy. They looked not even present. And I really wanted to take a little survey. How many of them are in sugar shock today? Thankfully, although I was on open the door duty for some loved ones as they all went out trick-or-treating, but thankfully I stayed away from all of it. And that's a big act of will on my power. I tend to have a bit of a sweet tooth. But I don't know. The more I look at that holiday, it really is, to my taste, over the top now. And I can't quite also figure out what is our penchant for frightening each other and for being frightened. The only ones who didn't want to be frightened were the really little children. And I thought to myself, they're the only ones who are maintaining a sense of wisdom and innocence. And the costumes were gory and horrible. And is this a deep, deep part of our psyche? What is this? Is it that we no longer appreciate beauty? Is it that we no longer want to stand straight and tall as something wonderful? I did take note. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. There was not a Hillary costume. There was not a Trump costume. There was not an Obama costume. There was not even a George Washington costume. The costumes that were prevalent were some make-believe characters I've never even heard of. I can't even remember now the names of them, but one seemed very prominent. Oh, Minions. Yeah, many of them were Minions. Like, all righty then. My favorite, of course, were the little butterflies, the little kids who were the fairy princes and princesses, and the little pirates, they were okay. But the ones that looked like they had their mouths stitched shut with some sort of black goop. I'm like, whoa, what is that about? Is their spirit not able to speak? You see, my nature would go to, why are you wearing that costume? What does that really mean to you? Thankfully, I kept my mouth shut and just wished all these kids, from whether they were 6 feet tall or a foot and held in mommy and daddy's arms, I just wish them well. But I really don't get this holiday. And I researched this morning, how did this even come up? And its roots are not particularly pleasant. So I'm going to suggest to you, Google it and see the origin of this thing. And then it's tied in with the Feast of All Saints and All Souls Day. And that makes me laugh too. But before I get on to All Saints Day, which is today, one final little insight about yesterday and the monies that were spent. 2.5 billion, that would be B as in boy, were spent on costumes. You add the candy into it and the other paraphernalia, $6 billion in total. It's second most to the in commercial spending to the holiday. It's second right after Christmas. I'm like, wow. Now, I am a generous spirit, and I'm the first to be giving, and I'm a happy giver. But something in me, when I heard these figures today, I thought, wait a minute. As the guy is standing at the corner with his homeless sign, looking beaten and bedraggled, and I'm not suggesting we're going to transform the whole kingdom of homeless people. Some of them have to be homeless. It's their soul's choice. But this seemed such a random, blatant misspending of monies. And these same people that have spent this money are going to be saying they don't have enough money for something important, whatever that might be. And the important thing, of course, in my world would be get some knowledge, travel, see the world, take better care of your home and your belongings. So I don't know. I found those numbers more sickening than the thought of all the candy that I could have and would have ingested probably as a little kid. So just some food for thought, not such sweet food for thought, but food for thought. So today is All Saints Day. Now, in Christianity, this is a day, in Catholicism, it's considered what they call a holy day of obligation. And this is to salute those that they have verified and positively known that they got to heaven. Well, that makes me chuckle too, because that's kind of an enormous judgment. Because tomorrow, November 2nd, All Souls Day, which is not a holy day of obligation, well, that honors the poor slobs that supposedly didn't get into heaven. I'd like to know who's in charge of the decision-making on you got in and you didn't. I think it's pretty interesting to contemplate. So tomorrow, when the poor guys are supposed to be honored that didn't get to heaven, I don't know, I'd kind of give up a bigger prayer. Maybe they need more help than the guys that supposedly got to heaven. I've done a lot of research and contemplation on heaven, and heaven, the word itself is a Greek word, which simply means harmony. So every time you are sincerely in a deep point of harmony, you're in heaven. And guess what? The core of you, the pure radiance of you, that divine essence of you, it's never left heaven in the first place. So some of these thoughts are pretty antiquated and scrambled, And frankly, there's downright not truthful. So you can tell. I get a little huffy about who's made it and who hasn't made it. Because in my book, I don't care what costume you're wearing, you're still God in drag. Now, you may have forgotten it. The costume may have eclipsed all of who you really are, but drop your costuming. And underneath that, you are brilliant. You are sunlight. You are starlight. You are illuminated. So maybe all of that mixed in together into this witch's cauldron is what unsettles me about what's triggered by yesterday with people, for the most part, looking and behaving poorly, unpleasantly, frighteningly. You got it, right? And I know we're in the season of dying, and maybe some of this old thinking can die. And if my thoughts on All Saints' Day have triggered something in some of you listening to this, think it through from a different point of view. You might find you start questioning a lot of things about what's been fed to you, because most of it does not make any sense. I was taught to beat my chest and say 3 times, I am not worthy. It took me a number of years to recover from that. Many of you have probably been in therapy because of it. I proclaim you not only worthy today, I proclaim you bright and beautiful and anything but scary if you would let all the costuming drop away. So if you have any questions about that, or you want to comment, or you want to verbally go to war with me, you're welcome to. Although you won't get a war back, you'll only get a multi-dose of love. But the number is 321-806-3159. I did receive a lovely it's a poem actually, from one of my listeners in Arizona. And I've kind of been keeping it for that special time. And I think today is the special time. This actually was written by the mystic Rumi, R-U-M-I. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Rumi's mysticism and his thinking, Google him, look him up. His work is beautiful. So this is a short poem, and here we go. Don't go back to sleep. For years, copying other people, I tried to know myself. From within, I couldn't decide what to do. Unable to see, I heard my name being called. Then I walked outside. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the door sill where the 2 worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. I think that's beautiful. And I think a lot of people in this country have fallen sound asleep. They've been lulled to sleep. They've been cajoled to sleep. They've been sugared to sleep. They've been poisoned to sleep. But don't go back to sleep. Wake, listen, wake. That wakefulness is in the breeze. It's nothing, it's not like you're going to go get enlightened instantly. It's the breeze. It's the wave of the ocean. It's the leaves on the trees. There is everything you need to be experiencing